you cannot argue that One Piece isn't woke. There's no argument to be made there. And if you think there is one, by all means, hit me up. We'll have a discussion. So it's been a minute since we've seen our boy Yellow Flash 2. The first time, and I think the only time I covered him, it was something about Brie Larson being in a superhero movie, Captain Marvel. Yellow Flash never stopped, mind you, although he has been losing steam quite a bit from what he used to be. And basically, he's just a quartering knockoff, like, you know, he just does the same exact thing. Very uninteresting, honestly, and I don't cover him a lot for that reason. But I looked him up, and he did just release a video that pertains to my particular interests. One Piece wrecks Ahsoka again. New ratings prove people want fun, not woke Star Wars. So, One Piece is one of the most woke shows that exists, okay? And also, even in the current live adaptation, there are elements of that quote-unquote wokeness, right? I mean, think about it. There's Alvida, right? Live action Alvida is actually not that unattractive. Although in the show and in the manga, she's made out to be this ugly, old, disgusting creature, right? This is Alvida in the manga and in the anime, and this is her in the live action, right? Not that bad looking. And also, they don't make any jokes, none, zero, about how ugly or fat she is. Okay? And quite frankly, honestly, I don't know how much I liked that. I kind of liked how she looked before, you know? I love this design. I feel like this one pretties her up too much. She looks pudgy, not in a bad way, but just different. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not unattractive. She's not unattractive, right? At least I don't think so. Like, nobody's gonna look at her and be like, oh yeah, she's so ugly. Like, no. But yeah, no, that was a very woke thing that they, liberty that they took, you know, if you want to describe it in such a way. In my opinion, at least. So that already discredits this, but also One Piece in general is just a woke shit show. All right, let me show you what I mean. Bon Clay. So this is Bon Clay, aka Mr. 2, aka Bentham. Now the reason he has so many names for those who aren't familiar with the series is because in one of the arcs there is an organization known as Baroque Works. Baroque Works is composed of people who work on a tiered system going from Mr. 1 to Mr. 10. Mr. 1, of course, being the boss. Bentham is Mr. 2, but he's also known as Bon Clay. Now, the thing about all of these numbered characters is that, members of Baroque Works, is that they have a female counterpart. There's a male number and a female counterpart, all right? Let me give you an example. Miss Merry Christmas, and I believe it's Mr. 4. Yeah, so here's Mr. 4, and then his partner is right here, Miss Merry Christmas. Okay, so you got a number and a holiday. Bon Clay, Mr. 2, is actually both, because as it turns out, Bon Kure is a holiday in Japanese culture. It's called Bon, and then Kure, I think, is the end of it or something. Bentham, aka Mr. 2, aka Bon Kure, is both male and female, okay? You can refer to them with any pronouns you want, and they're also, by the way, let me show you this. In one of the cover stories, a little bit of a spoiler, you find out that he becomes the queen. Yes, the queen of Nukama Island, all right? And that is an island composed entirely of cross-dressers, trans, and queer people, okay? So, you know, if you want to talk about wokeness, like, this is just one example. Let me give you another really good example before we get into the video. So this character is named Emporio Ivankov, and her power, his, her, their power, doesn't matter, is transing people. That's a real thing. He ate the horo fruit, or whatever it's called, the horm fruit, became a hormone man, and now transes themselves and other people. Take a look.
教えてくれるかしら？彼の居場所。断る！あら困ったわね。もっと自分に正直になりなさい。
Also in Japanese, he uses neopronouns.
何をする気だ？エンポリオアルファハルマ
あれ？お、女になった。
どう？本当の自分に目覚めた感想は？
え？これが私？
バナータは生まれ変わったの。もう看守じゃない、ニューカマーよ。
素敵！ありがとうございます、岩様。私、本当の自分に気づけました。
Why does he look like female Hitler? Because these guards are explicitly based on Nazi soldiers.
Yeah.
So good catch. They are fascist guards. This prison is built for pirates who have committed crimes ranging from pissing off the government to killing and murdering people, whatever. But the prison itself is a hellhole, literally, based on the levels of hell, and it's very fascist in its design.
Yeah. Not quite Dante Inferno levels of the levels of hell, but like very similar vibes.
Point being, you cannot say that this show is not woke. So let's take a look at what Yellow Flash here has to say about the live action show and why it's not woke.
Another week, another embarrassing drop for Ahsoka. So we've got some more numbers, this time for episode...
Oh, and also I know nothing about the Ahsoka thing. I know that Ahsoka is a character that exists in the Star Wars world, and that's it.
Episode 4. And yet again, we have another drop for the show.
Oh yeah, I forgot to turn
A lot
on
of
the
people are
lighting.
tuning out. I know there's some people out there that still seal clap for Disney Star Wars and act like this stuff is the greatest thing ever made, when it's really not. The show is not a good show. It
That could be
literally
true. I haven't
exists
seen it.
to move you to the next content. There's no substance. Everything is surface level with this show. It sucks. Can't sell any toys. People tune out. Star Wars is in a lot of trouble, whether some people want to believe it or not. It's not in a good place. And
She was Anakin Skywalker's
can see,
Padawan. Okay.
we have yet another drop. More bad news for Star Wars Ahsoka series on Disney Plus as the ratings keep dropping from episode 4 released the week, with episode 4 released the week of September 4th to the 10th.
So here's the thing. The right, at least certain factions of the right, have been doing this weird thing with media where if it succeeds, they chalk it up to, they point out the based red pill parts that they love about it, such as like men being assholes, right? Or something like that. And if a show does poorly or a movie does poorly, they'll only point out parts like there were women in it or there were black people in it, and that's why it did bad. So it's a win-win situation for them because they can always point to certain things, cherry pick these things and just create their own narrative. It's kind of a create your own adventure scenario here.
Nielsen has released its streaming ratings, where Ahsoka episode 4 comes in 7th with 459 millions viewed. Ahsoka went from 829 minutes with its first 2 episodes released to 487 minutes with episode 3, and now with episode 4 is down to 159 minutes, which we went over previously is a 50% drop. That's pretty sad. Why the drop? I think a couple of factors explain the drop, which includes the first 3 episodes that are not any good, so that may have turned off fans from the series. It's a shame because episode 4 is the best of the series and one of the best episodes of all of Disney Plus. That must be the one with Anakin. I humbly disagree. That was nothing but a key jangling episode. That's all it was. An attempt to set Anakin up as some kind of Mortis god, which I just learned about.
Okay, since I don't have much to say right now, I'm just going to fill the empty space and say I still to this day have no clue how this guy built up a following of 424,000 people. I don't know who watches this shit unironically. I don't know who likes it. I don't know who comments shit like, well, that's fine. That one's fine. It's almost like making media entertain people and enjoyment works better for your shows, movies, games than trying to force talking points, ideology, or checking off diversity boxes only. Another thing that I want to point out on this specifically is One Piece is a very fun show. It's very fun, but it's not just fun. It is politically and ideologically motivated almost to a fault. It is insanely motivated by ideology, specifically progressivism. As I just showed you some examples of queerness in the show, I also want to point out there is a literal resistance movement, okay, the Revolutionary Army, whose ship, by the way, and she's the vice captain of the Resistance Army, by the way. Okay, so we know that the name of Dragon's Revolutionary Army ship is Cyclone Grandma. Grandma is the yacht that was used to transport 82 fighters of the Cuban Revolution, including their leader Fidel Castro, his brother Raul Castro, Che Guevara, and the Camilo Cienfuegos from Mexico to Cuba in November 1956 for the purpose of overthrowing the regime of Fulgencio Batista, if I pronounced that correctly. Both Fidel and Dragon are revolutionaries. It doesn't get much more communist than that, okay? On top of that, they talk all the time about slavery against fishmen. Specifically, we just had a little discussion about that in the last segment. They even have some commentary on gender differences. Like, it is so overt all the time. Let me show you, hold on. You want to talk about shoving the message down your throat? Basically, there's like this high-class town full of noblemen, right? Really snooty, uptight, obnoxious noble people who literally think that they are above the common class, right? The common whatever. To the extent that there are scavengers who live out in the outskirts of the city and scavenge in the trash for whatever scraps they can find to survive off of, right? They burn this entire outer skirt. They burn it. They literally burn it, and they wanted the people to burn with it. And during this scene, there's a child in one of the houses who says, "Daddy, why are we burning it?" And the dad is like, "Well, you see, my dear son, they deserve what they get because they weren't born into a higher class like we were." And then the kid is like, "Oh, I get it. You mean it's because they didn't choose to be born like us." It's just so overt, it's not even funny. And this guy's gonna literally try to convince you that there's no political messaging in One Piece. I'm sorry, that's just not the case. Anyway, let's keep going.
The other day, I think it's ridiculous. I think this show sucks. It's literally Key Jangles the show, like most of Disney Plus Star Wars, to be honest. And you know what's funny? Look at that. Look at old One Piece there, holding strong for original at number 2. Still up there on the original overall, or just.
I wish I was born into a higher class. I'd use that privilege for good. There's some of that in the show as well. That happens. There are high class people who aren't assholes. Imagine that.
Not even original. Look at that. Down to number 3. You have some
it's a
new
great
show
show
that came out. So Suits and Virgin River
or manga
River
if you so
are up
choose.
there. But look at where old One Piece is. Number 3 went from 2 to 3. You see Ahsoka on there? No, not at all. Little Mermaid's on there. That's funny.
You're talking about where Luffy's brother is from? Yeah, Sabo, but not even just Sabo. There is a celestial dragon. Spoilers for those who haven't gotten this part yet. If you have not reached Fishman Island, spoilers. There's a celestial dragon that shows up on Fishman Island out of nowhere. And the fish people are considered lower class, right? They're literal slaves, a lot of them. And he shows up here because a bunch of his slaves were liberated by one of the government officials. I won't get into the nitty-gritty on that. They were liberated, and so he was going to get them back. He wanted his property back. He shows up on Fishman Island. He's injured all to hell, and all he has is a gun. And he holds up the gun to them, and he says, "You must respect me. I am a celestial dragon, and I will be respected. I demand it." And he has a gun, and that's it. And people are like, "What the Can we kill him? Can we, like, splatter his intestines against the floor, please?" And they almost do. And then Queen Otohime saves him, and he's like, "Guys, this is not the way," right? And they had every right to kill this motherfucker, because a lot of them were owned by his ass. Literally owned. And so she actually saves him from her own people, brings him back to the surface, and then later, much later in the show, another spoiler for those who have not gotten that far, much later in the show, they all go up to their, the Celestial Dragon's home for a world meeting of leaders, right? Mary Joie, it's what it's called. So the Celestial Dragons live here, and all the world leaders go there for a big old meeting. And one of the Celestial Dragons tries to take the princess and kidnap her. And they're allowed to do that because Celestial Dragons can do whatever they want. So one of the Celestial Dragons tries to kidnap the mermaid princess. And then, guess who shows up to save the day? It was the Celestial Dragon, I forget his name, who showed up on Fishman Island, who was saved. So a Celestial Dragon, one of the worst people in the entire show, the people who have been built up to the audience so that the audience believes there is no saving these people, one of them saves the mermaid princess, a person from a species that he thought was lesser than humans like a decade ago. That's amazing. That's incredible writing. I love this show. Anyway, sorry, that was very off topic.
Little Mermaid's on there. That's finally free on Disney Plus, I'm guessing. That's everyone trying to see what all the hubbub was about. So people are checking it out for themselves now. Not paying for it, but they are checking it out. But what's not on this list? Ahsoka's not on here, is it? Nobody gives a shit about Ahsoka. You have to go to original, and as you can see there, One Piece is still number 2. One Piece is how you should do a show. You should get a fan, or at least somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. This is going to be a problem with that Power Rangers show on Netflix.
I don't disagree, by the way, that getting fans to help you write the show is not the worst idea. It doesn't always pan out well, but it can help.
See, stop doing things like The Witcher. Get people that are fans of these franchises.
Don't people love The Witcher? I've heard nothing but good things about The Witcher. Nothing but good things. People are obsessed with that show. What are you talking about?
To run them. That's what you have to do. Do you need to absolutely do that? No. But I think that it does help if you can get somebody that can do the job and has a love for the franchise. I think that puts it in a better place. I'm not convinced that anybody working on Star Wars actually likes or loves Star Wars, except maybe Jon Favreau, but he doesn't seem to have much power anymore, to be honest. And I've been hearing that he's out and going to leave. Whether that's just a rumor, time will tell. But, I mean, look at The Mandalorian itself. It's pretty clear that the dude has lost influence. Probably because fans started to like him and Kathleen Kennedy didn't like that. Because if anybody's going to get praise, it's going to be her. She's the one that wants the love.
Why is he so boring?
She's not getting it, even though like this new audience. I don't know who this new audience is for Star Wars. I saw people saying that Anakin.
I've been watching some Xander Hall lately, and I think he's got a great point when he says that these assholes just get on stream or in front of their little microphones after they've been drinking, and they just ramble. They just do drunk screeds, and then they upload it, and somehow those get clicks, and they make eons more than anybody will. Most people will in their entire lives, or tons more, I should say, not eons. It's a time measurement. You guys get my point.
Care about his children and all this shit. It's what the hell are you talking about? You obviously don't know a damn thing about Star Wars. Say he never loved his kids. The whole reason that he came back to the light side was his love for Luke. Whatever. The difference is pretty clear to me when you get a fan to run shit. There's a whole article here.
Also, I want to point out another really quote-unquote woke element of One Piece is found family. People think that found family is a woke concept. Luffy does not give a shit who his biological family is. Meanwhile, in Star Wars, there's an entire thing, like he just said, about Anakin realizing his love for his flesh and blood, and that's why he turned back to the good side. If Luke Skywalker had been anybody but his own son, he would not have given a shit. That is a conservative idea. It was well written. It was good. But that kind of is a conservative idea. The idea that just because somebody's your flesh and blood, that makes it less okay to hurt them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's absolutely no credence to that, but that is at its roots kind of a conservative idea. So it's just funny to me that people keep calling Star Wars woke when Star Wars is, not conservative, but by many stretches more conservative than One Piece ever has been or ever will be.
Very good. From Bounding into Comics, covering a Reddit Q&A that the director, showrunner of One Piece did. And it's nothing but how he loves the show and wants to do the fans right. Legitimately loves it. Talks about all of this stuff that he wants to do and not going to compromise the source material. Now, these are all words.
Good for you, sure. Hotbara.
All words, but I'm on episode 100 now of One Piece. So I've watched everything that the live action.
Oh no. He actually is watching the anime. Oh no, he's going to be in for a rude awakening. I really want to see what he has to say about characters like Eva and Bon Clay. I really want to see that.
Adapted. And I can tell you, I think they did a good job.
Oh, wait till he gets to Wano, too. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's a legit, there's a trans character who does not have a joke attached to her, and also him, because there's a trans man and a trans woman. No jokes attached. Oh, there are, but they're not about their transness, mostly. early on in the show, there's a lot of really weird stuff that he does with like men who dress as women or trans people or drag queens or whatever. It's never really specified what they are, and they're called the newcomer, and they look really weird. So Oda Sensei did do some weirdo stuff with that, but a lot of people look at that and they're like, okay, well, we can forgive it. He's done so much good things with the queer community that we can forgive it.
It feels like the show. And the way this guy talks, I think that this is going to probably go on to be a long-running Netflix show if they keep staying true to the source material. Somebody asked him about adding things and putting stuff in there, and he says, I don't want to rush things or create a false ending of the show. Yeah, this is the context of this. I said, Netflix likes to cancel shit after 3 seasons, right? Likes to cancel shit after 3 seasons. Are you going to tie it all up and give it a proper finale, or will you just let it end? And he says this is an awesome answer. I don't want to rush things or create a false ending of the show, said the showrunner. When we know we are coming to an end, I hope to appropriately finish the story where we are and hope that people will pick up the anime or the manga to continue the journey. It's a pretty good answer.
Why does Luffy look like Anthony?
And they ask him about like this, turning to discuss Owen's personal production philosophy in a more general sense.
There's really not that much commentary I can add to this video. I almost want to just end it. Like, he's not giving me anything to work with.
Showrunner, how important is it to be for the people involved with an adaptation to be fans of the original material? Do you think being a fan makes some decisions harder? Is it absolutely necessary? No, he replied. Is it incredibly helpful? Yes. Being a fan of something means you understand it on a deeper level. You love and study it. As a creator, my fandom helps me identify what is important for the story because I know it, but also what is important to fans because I am one. So I think this guy is going to do a good job. And if anything, this should be an advertisement to companies to say, hey, maybe we should get people that actually love these things if we're going to bring them over.
He's not wrong, but this has nothing to do with being woke. Like, where's the woke part, right? I don't understand.
I often ask myself, if I weren't working on this show, how would this potential change make me feel as a fan, Owen said. I wouldn't say it made the job harder. It gave me a good position to fight for things that I believed in. So, you see this.
He did cut out, okay, real talk, in the live action One Piece, they cut out a very pivotal fight in the East Blue. And Sanji should have been present for Zoro's fight against Mihawk because that was a big character moment for Sanji. There was a lot of shit that they could have done better. It was a well done, from what I saw of it, which was not all of it yet, it was very well done, better than most people thought it would be. But due to time constraints, due to, just the limitations of live action shows, they cut out a lot of important stuff. And I think some missteps were taken, but it is what it is.
What's this guy talking about? It's the fans. Star Wars people never seem to give a shit about the fans. All I ever hear them talk about is patriarchy and how great it is that 2 women are fighting each other with lightsabers. It's like, get the fuck.
I've never heard a Star Wars fan talk about that. Ever. When I hear Star Wars fans talk, I pretty much universally hear that the prequels and the sequels are not as good as the original, which is just, part and parcel for any big media for the most part. And then I hear some people whining about how one of the main characters in the sequels was black, and that's about it. Oh yeah, and how the main character was a woman. Heavens to Betsy, I can't fathom a female lead role. Holy Jesus Christ. I don't think that my fifis can handle that.
And you're paying for it now. You look at these numbers don't lie. Every week, One Piece is out here turning
this
out.
Ass don't lie.
Shit. People are watching this over and over again. I'm surprised the anime hasn't jumped up on here because there's enough episodes. The first 15 seasons, whatever that is, are on Netflix. I don't know if all of them are on Netflix or not. But, there's a...
I keep checking how long it is. I'm so bored of this. Should we just stop? Like, I don't think he's gonna. I'm gonna stop. I don't think he's gonna add anything else. Bottom line is, you cannot argue that One Piece isn't woke. There's no argument to be made there. And if you think there is one, by all means, hit me up. We'll have a discussion on stream. I would love to have a discussion with somebody who thinks that One Piece somehow is not woke, right? I would love to know that. But most people, I think, will agree that One Piece is a very progressive piece of media. I think it's one of the best pieces of progressive media that has ever existed or will ever exist, but I am biased because I love that fucking show. I'm literally wearing a shirt from the show right now. So, but I think it's pretty undeniable that it is progressive in its messaging for the most part. And thinking otherwise is very dumb. Man, I feel so bad for this guy. I'm so sorry to my man Yellow Flash here for what is to come, because he's only on episode 100 of the anime, and my god, man, you're in for a rude awakening, let me say that much. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. You can join my channel membership at youtube.com/AlecGunther/TTV/join for only 99 cents a month. That's less than the price of a blowjob from your mom. You can be part of the channel membership program, and you will get early access content, as well as a sweet badge next to your name and exclusive emojis in the comments that nobody else gets. Thank you again, and I will see you all in the next video.